Good morning. All right. So if you are not with us today, or if you just want to review, here are our slope of a line notes day one. All right. So first of all, what is slope? A slope is a ratio that describes the steepness of a line. So remember, when we talk about ratios, we're talking about a number like 2 to 3 or 4 to 1, something that looks like that. All right, so we are going to find our slope on a graph. So as we all know, that is our x-axis, and this is our y-axis. If you have a steep slope, we're going to talk a lot about steep versus not steep. If you have, I'm actually going to use a different color so we can see that stand out. So if you have a steep slope, if you had to climb up this hill, that would be a challenge. However, if you had to climb up this hill, that would not have a very steep slope, okay? So moving on to positive slope, down here, what does it mean if the slope is positive? If it's positive, the line is going to go up from left to right. So if we have a positive, so when you solve for your ratio, if your answer is a positive number, when you graph it on the coordinate plane, your line should be going up from left to right as if you're climbing uphill. If you do your math and your answer is a negative number, then your line on your coordinate plane should be going down from left to right. So then your slope should be going this direction. That would be as if you're climbing downhill. Now, what if your slope is equal to 0? If your slope is equal to 0, you're always going to have a horizontal line. So what that would look like is, so our x-axis and our y-axis. That means you might have a point here on your graph, and your other point might be here. We're always going to connect those 2 points when we're finding the slope of a line. So if the slope is equal to 0, the line on your graph is going to be a horizontal line. Last definition, what if it means your slope is undefined? If it's undefined, that's going to be a vertical line. So x-axis, y-axis. So this time you might have a point at 4, 5, and you might have a point at 4, -3. If those are the 2 points, then you're going to have a vertical line for your slope. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about those terms. We're going to be using those terms a lot. So I think once we start really talking about them and using them in our daily conversations about slope, they'll start making more sense. All right, boys and girls, here comes what you need to remember. How do we find the slope of the line? The slope is equal to the change in y over the change in x. So find the slope of the lines containing these points. The change in y. So the first thing I want you to do is we're going to look at this one. We need to know which one of these coordinates is the x and which one is the y. So 0 is our x coordinate, 3 is our y coordinate. 1 is the x, 4 is the y. So I'm going to go ahead and put my ratio bar over here. So this is going to be a ratio. So the change in y. So now what I'm looking at to get from 3 to 4 is a change of +1 over the change in x. To get from 0 to 1 is also an increase of 1. So we're always going to simplify our ratio. So 1 divided by 1, your final answer would simply be 1. Let's take a look at this one. First thing we need to realize is that our coordinates go x, y, x, y. Put your ratio bar over here. You find the slope of a line by determining the change in y. So if you're at -1 on the number line and you move to 1, you've made a move of 2 to the right, or +2. What about from 0 to 1? That's only an increase of +1. So +2 divided by +1 is 2. Number 3, our coordinates go x, y, x, y. Ratio bar. The change in y, you always find the change in y first, and that number goes on the top of your ratio. So to go from 4 down to 2 is going to be -2. To go from 2 to -2 would be a change of -4. Remember that 2 negatives cancel to form a positive. So this is going to simplify to 1/2. First thing you need to realize is the order of your coordinates always goes x, y. We always find the change in y first. So I'm focusing on 0 and -6 first. The change in y from 0 to -6 is a change of -6. The change from -3 to 0 is +3. We know that negative divided by positive is negative, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the slope of your line would be -2 on that one. Okay, if you're at home, quarantined or sick today and you want to try those and email me the rest of what you practiced, you can do that, and I will let you know if they are correct, or if you want some help, you can email me. All righty, see you guys soon. Bye-bye.